Call to order the June 4th Planning Commission meeting. Let's stand and do the pledge. Do the roll, please.
Treffus,
Here.
Kaluza,
Here.
Ink,
Here.
Swaney.
Here.
The minutes, anybody have any changes to last meeting's minutes? If not, we'll accept those as done. Any announcements?
No, not this evening.
So this evening, we have a few public hearings. The first public hearing is to consider the application of ISG for a conditional use permit for a convenience restaurant with drive-through service window in the M2 mixed-use corridor district. Ryan Duran with Optidan, would you introduce the project, sorry.
Ryan Duran with Oppidan, 400 Water Street, Suite 200, Excelsior, Minnesota. I'm not sure, is this on a slideshow right here?
I think so, should be.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there we
Yeah,
go.
happy to talk through it quick. So in the development, it's 9 parcels. We have a number of different users. This building in particular, like city staff has mentioned, will be a drive-through restaurant, as well as a dental service, and then some to be determined space right now.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah.
Please present for this city.
Good evening, Chair or Vice Chair, Commission members. I'm Heather Botten, the Senior Planner with the city. This request, hopefully you can hear me okay? Okay. This request is for a property located east of Cedar Avenue. It's south of 179th Street. It is Lot 3 of the Marketplace at Cedar Plat. The property is zoned M2, which is our mixed-use Cedar Corridor District. The request in front of you is for a conditional use permit for the convenience restaurant with a drive-through in the M2 zoning district. The project overall includes an approximate 8,500 square foot multi-tenant building. And then the one would have the drive-through service window on the westerly side of the building over here. So the main access to the site would be to the south. And then there would also be access through the parking lots to the developments, the lots to the west and to the east. There is a single lane drive-through that wraps around the building with a pass-through lane that also goes around it. The parking calculations are shared with the lot to the west. So the minimum number of parking spaces would be 80, and the maximum allowed on these sites would be 100. So the proposed development includes 92 parking spaces, which complies with our code requirements. The building does comply with all of our setback requirements. The stormwater design, as you have probably remember from the other developments in this plat, the stormwater was approved with the plat itself. So engineering will review the final plans at the time of building permit. The landscape plan provides plantings mainly on the north and south side of the property with additional plantings within the parking lot medians. Forestry has reviewed the plans and stated that additional trees would be required along the easterly side near the drive-through lane to help reduce the headlight glare from vehicles entering into the drive-through. So a revised plan will have to be submitted prior to City Council review and approval, a review of the CUP. The building elevations with the exterior building materials, they are required to have at least 65% grade A materials and no more than 35% grade B or C. So depending on what elevation you're looking at, The building will be constructed of 66 to 71% grade A materials and 29 to 34% grade C materials. So this does comply with our code requirements. So staff is recommending approval of the conditional use permit with the 6 stipulations listed in the staff report, along with the findings of fact that were included with your packet. We have not heard from any of the surrounding property owners, and the anticipated council date for this request would be on June 15th. I'll stand for questions.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this issue, if you'd please come up.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
seeing no one come forward, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is closed. Oh, sorry. Voice vote, please. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The public hearing is closed. Commission members, any questions or comments? Mr. Caluso?
I just have a question for the developer. Do you have tenants identified yet, or is that something you guys are still working on?
We have 2 tenants identified with signed leases, and then working to find remaining tenants for the rest of the building.
Okay, great.
Mr. Chair, also for Mr. Duran. So 3 more to be identified.
Up to 3. Yeah, we've designed the building to accommodate up to 3 in that remaining space. But if
But
this
you could combine if someone
could combine to 1 single tenant, yeah, if that
Okay.
was possible. Yep.
So I was looking at the drive-through.
Mhm.
Is the convenience restaurant that we're talking about tonight, is that the only business that can use that drive-through, or could this somehow be modified so that 2 of these businesses could use these drive-through lanes?
I'm not sure. That may be a city staff question. I'm sure code-related, if that would be
Mm.
allowable. But it's surely designed to accommodate other businesses, yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? Are we ready for a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I motion to recommend to City Council approval of the conditional use permit for a convenience restaurant with a drive-through service window in the M2 Mixed-Use Cedar Corridor District, subject to the 6 stipulations in the planning report dated May 27, 2026, and the findings of fact.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Ms. Erickson, could you take the roll, please?
Aye.
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 Traffus.
Aye.
The motion passes. We wish you well on your development, and thank you for coming to Lakeville. For the next agenda item, it's a public hearing to consider the application of EB Lakeville Development LLC for an amendment to a CUP 24-09 for the construction of more than one principal residential building on one lot of record and the vacation of a public right-of-way for 207th Street. Will O'Keefe, would you please introduce your project?
Chair, council member, or commission members, thank you very much. Will O'Keefe, 3020 France Avenue South, St. Louis Park. I'm here on behalf of Bader Development as well as our partner developer, Elevage Development Group. We're thrilled to be in Lakeville to bring this opportunity and this project hopefully to fruition shortly. We are working off of previously approved projects, which I believe some of you may have seen in recent years, where there was already consideration to multiple buildings. And so our project is very similar. We are proposing a 142-unit apartment building and then 24 townhomes. And so we'll have amenities and all of that, but we're really just trying to make sure that we're setting up the land use correctly to allow for that now as we move forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Jensen?
Good evening, Commissioners. Hopefully one of these works. Okay. So this is a public hearing for an amendment to a previously approved CUP number 24-09, as well as the vacation of 207th Street right-of-way. The subject property is north of 210th Street, which is CASA 70 and west of Keokuk Avenue. Keokuk is right on the edge of the page here. I-35 is just off. The property is zoned RH2 multiple family residential. This was the previously approved site plan that City Council granted approval on October 21st, 2024. I'm just having it here for a little refresher. It was a preliminary plat of one lot. There were 3 conditional use permits, 1 conditional use permit, 3 items approved. One was the more than one principal building on a lot, which we are requesting to amend this evening. The other 2 were a building height in excess of 48 feet and the exception to exterior material requirements. The proposed building, the new apartment building, is roughly the same height as what was proposed, so it is still in compliance with that conditional use permit. And the exception to the exterior material requirements was because of the underground, more of the underground parking area is exposed. And so when you take that exterior material into account, it throws off the minimum requirements. So everything, you know, first floor and above meets our city requirements. So that was why that we included that CUP. And then I also did want to note that in conjunction with that preliminary plat, the tree inventory was done at that time. And because that was approved as a part of that preliminary plat, they are not subject to the new requirements that we adopted late last summer. So they are still working under the previous requirements that were in effect at the time that this preliminary plat was approved. This is the new site plan. I still have the apartment building here in roughly the same location, but instead of a second building along the west line, we have 4 6-unit townhome buildings. So there's a total of 182 units. I'm sorry, that was the previous plan, 182 units. The current plan has 166, as Mr. O'Keefe said, 142 units within the apartment building, and then 24 townhome units as well. The multifamily building does have 2 levels of underground parking. Depending upon which level you want to be at, you'll either enter in on the south or up on the north end here. So that accommodates 161 underground spaces, and then the surface, there's 123 spaces. So they are meeting that requirement for 2 spaces per unit, one of which is under the building. So they are in meeting that. The townhomes themselves each have 2-car garages and space for 2 cars in the driveway as well. They are developed under the RM3 requirements, which does not require guest parking, but obviously with the adjacent surface parking for the apartment building, that will also serve as guest parking should it be needed. And then in the middle here, if I can get my mouse working, this is a pool amenity area. There is a little dog run area in the back here as well for the residents within the development. 207th Street, there is a chunk of right-of-way for 207th Street. It obviously has never been improved. It was created in 2006 when the county was doing official mapping for the County Road 70 improvement project. So it was under the county's jurisdiction up until about March of this year, when they transferred it to the city so that it could be vacated in conjunction with this project. And due to the Authentics project to the north, just for information, 207th Street is up here. It initially, before Authentics was developed, intended to come down and end here, which is why it was mapped as a part of that project, but that has obviously changed since then, so that right-of-way is no longer needed. So we are vacating that with this project. Updated landscape plan showing landscaping on the site, foundation plans for the larger building, Can't really see the foundation plantings on the townhomes, but that is required and will be provided as well. One thing we did note in the report was the efficiency apartment was showing a bedroom. The ordinance requires that efficiency units be one room, exclusive of, a bathroom, closets, things of that nature. And then they can have a minimum square footage of 500 square feet. One-bedroom units have a minimum of 700 square feet. So we gave, the developer, like, here's your options. They did note that they are making changes to that. You can kind of see the revised plan here. So that fourth wall of that bedroom is removed, so it now does meet those requirements, and they will update those plans prior to city council approval. And then just for informational purposes, I did include a chunk of the exterior materials. It's a little tough to tell here. There's 2 different colors of brick, a darker and a lighter color. There is stone, and then these other areas are different types of hardy siding. There's lap siding, there's kind of a panel, and then there's, not on this section, but there's some board and batten, as well as some other wood look lap siding. So they are same as the previous apartment building, meeting those requirements of that CUP that was approved. So staff does recommend approval of the amendment to CUP 2409 and the vacation of 207th Street right-of-way, subject with the 3 stipulations listed in the May 28th planning report and approval of the findings of fact dated June 4th. And I will stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Jensen. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to address this issue? If you would just state your name and address, please.
Sure. Robert Powell, 11774 205th Street West. My property is due north of this property, and I just wanted to know if the moratorium still has anything to do with it or not for this year, 1, and 2, we had talked to the previous developer and they were agreed to put in a fence and that kind of stuff. Is that kind of stuff still open? That's my 2 questions.
Very good. We'll come back to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak on this item? And we'll answer your questions once we close the hearing. Are we ready to close the public hearing?
Mr. Chair, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Ms. Erickson, can you call the roll, please?
Voice.
Or is it voice vote? I'm sorry. Voice vote. Those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Not, the public hearing is closed. Ms. Jensen, could we address those 2 issues? I believe one was a fence.
Yep.
And
So as far as the moratorium issue goes, when that was approved by city council, it did exempt any residential projects that already had preliminary plat approval, which this project did. So it is allowed to continue forward to final plat. The other one, Mr. Powell noted a fence. There was a fence that was approved along that north property line. So it would be expected that that would still be required because that was part of that preliminary plat approval at that time.
Very good.
So,
Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Powell, I think that addresses your 2 issues, correct? Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions from commission members?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Question for the developer. As I understand, the CUP, one of the reasons for the CUP was changing this from a single building, I take it was a large apartment building only, to the townhomes and the apartment. You just speak to the decision to change that?
So the previous version had 2 multifamily apartment buildings of, in fairness, larger size, because it was 182 units total. And so as we went through our process and as we looked at the broader market, and I will speak, our company manages 15,000 units around the Twin Cities, so we really pride ourselves on getting into the weeds on the needs of a specific community when we explore a market. And so as we looked at it, we saw an opportunity to provide a different type of housing than had been previously approved. And we thought that that was additive to the development as a whole and would be well received broadly.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Comments? Are we ready for a motion?
Mr. Chair? Motion to recommend City Council approval of the amendment to conditional use permit number 24-09 and the vacation of 207th Street right-of-way, subject to the 3 stipulations in the planning report dated May 28, 2026, and the findings of fact.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Erickson, could you take the roll, please?
Ink,
Aye.
Swaney,
Aye.
Traffus,
Aye.
Kaluza.
Aye.
Very good. Motion passes, and we'll bring you back up to talk about the next item once I introduce it. The next is a public hearing to consider the application of EB Lakeville Development LLC for a preliminary plat of 3 outlots to be known as Authentics Lakeville Second Edition. Mr. O'Keefe, could you come back up?
Do I need to introduce myself again, or are we
You're good.
Okay, cool. Again, this is, as we work through our plating here, we've been navigating the appropriate way to address stormwater. And so, yeah, this is what we're after. Again, this is all tied into how we put together this development.
Perfect. Thank you. Ms. Jensen?
Good evening once again. So this is for the Authentics Lakeville Second Edition. Thank you, Jack. Preliminary plat. This property is directly adjacent to the site we were just talking about. I will point that out. That is roughly here. This is the property directly to the east. With the previous project, the intent was that stormwater would be collected and treated underground. With the change in developer and changes to the site, the stormwater is now intended to be a pond created on the parcel directly to the east. Because the preliminary plat was already approved for the parcel to the west, and this one hadn't had any actions on, this is a separate preliminary plat of its own, which is why we have separate public hearings for them. This property is zoned commercial, as you can see here. This is the preliminary plat. The property is proposed to be split into 3 outlots. Outlot A is the east portion over here. I should add that this line here is the wetland boundary on the south here. Outlot B is where the stormwater pond would be located, and Outlot C is the wetland area. That part would come to the city. You can see here, here's the 207th Street right-of-way that you've just recommended to be vacated. So no additional right-of-way is required to be platted with this plat. That was done when this parcel, when this outlot was platted as a part of that Authentics Lakeville plat. The wetland delineation on the site is being updated. I think it's either close to or probably been finalized by now, but that does need to be done prior to city council consideration. And then Outlot A must be platted into lots and blocks, in other words, its own preliminary and final plat before any development could happen on that site. Just for reference purposes, here's the overall development area. County Road 70 is to the south here. You've got the apartment building here, the townhome buildings here. This is your access point, and people entering the site will either come and head to the west to go to the units, or they could go to the right. The pond will be here on their north and continue through this private road to provide access to other commercial areas to the east. A tree inventory was done for this site because it is subject to our new requirements. There is 218 inches of trees proposed, significant trees proposed to be removed. Because the property is zoned commercial, it has a 70% removal threshold. That's 152.6 inches. because the site is removing all 218 of the trees within Outlot B. It requires the replacement of 32.7 inches, and they are proposing to plant 14 trees, each 2.5 inches, for a total of 35 inches on site, so they do meet those requirements, and this plan has been reviewed by the city forester and been approved. Here's their planting plan. They are planting birch and swamp white oak on the site. Staff does recommend approval of the Authentics Lakeville Second Edition preliminary plat, subject to the 3 stipulations listed in the May 28th planning report, and I'll stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. If there's anyone who wishes to speak on this item, please come up to the podium. Not seeing anyone, do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to close the public meeting.
Second.
We have a first and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? The public hearing is closed. Questions from the commissioners? We have no questions. We have
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to recommend to City Council approval of the preliminary plat to be known as Authentics Lakeville Second Edition, subject to the 3 stipulations in the planning report dated May 28, 2026.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Ms. Erickson, could you do the roll, please?
Swaney,
Aye.
Traffus,
Aye.
Kaluza,
Aye.
Ink.
Aye. But the motion passes for the folks at Authentics, and thank you for your significant development in Lakeville, and I hope the project goes very well for you. Thank you. Just a quick note that, if I'm correct in reading the memo, that all 3 of these items will come in front of the council on June 15th.
That would be the next available meeting. We'll see how the things
Flow
fall out,
goes?
so, yep.
Okay. You have your notes, and the next planning commission meeting is on June 25th. With that, we're closed. Thank you.